In the Season 1 finale of House of the Dragon, entitled The Black Queen, we see 3 missions assigned, and we see one of them carried out. We see Jacaerys go to the Baratheons and attempt to make peace or find an ally, but he is killed by Aemond, unintentionally. However, that is only one of the 3 missions that was given out. Today, I'm going to be going over the mission given to Jacaerys, Rhaenyra's eldest son and heir, what that mission entails, what is going on in Winterfell and in the Eyrie during this time period, and just breaking all that lore down for you all. There will not be any spoilers in this video for the future of House of the Dragon. This is just going off of background information from the book that has existed outside of this, and I will not go into any events that will happen during Season 2. However, I am quite excited for Season 2, and if you are too, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed to the channel, left a like, commented, all that YouTube stuff. It really helps the video out, and it really helped me out, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, let's jump into the mission of Jacaerys Velaryon. So, what was Jacaerys' mission, or Jace's mission? I'm going to say Jace because Jacaerys is a bit of a mouthful, and I keep wanting to say Jacaerys, but that is not his name. Jacaerys was going to go to 2 castles that we did see during Game of Thrones. Firstly, he was going to fly to the Eyrie, home of House Arryn, and then he was going to fly to Winterfell, the home of House Stark. At this point in the story, the Vale in its entirety and the Eyrie is controlled by one Jeyne Arryn, an ancestor to Robin Arryn, who we see in Game of Thrones, or Robert Arryn if you're reading the books. She became the Lady of the Eyrie in the year 97 AC. We actually hear her referred to earlier in the season when Daemon's uncle-in-law says that he will take the case of his former wife's death to Jeyne Arryn because she's the ruler of the Vale. It's a bit of an interesting parallel to the main series. In both cases, we have a female ruler of an area, while the area is normally ruled by a man. Particularly in the case of this era, it is because Jeyne is pretty much the only person in House Arryn who could rule it, whereas during the main series, Song of Ice and Fire, Lysa Tully is reigning as a regent for her son, Sweet Robin, son of the late Jon Arryn, whose death kicks off the story as a whole. Jeyne Arryn has been ruler of the Vale for quite a while. She took the title in 97 AC when the majority of her family were killed by the hill tribes in the Vale, one known as the Stone Crows, we actually see with Tyrion in the main series. She was only 3 when she ascended to the title of Lady of the Eyrie, and for reference, 97 AC was about 32 years ago from the present in-world, as it is 129 AC when the Dance of the Dragons begins, and that great council at the very start of the show took place at 101 AC. So this takes place even 4 years before that event. It is worth noting that Jeyne's inheritance was contested several times by her male cousins on account of her sex. However, this was never truly upturned in their favor. She was able to retain her power as Lady of the Vale despite being a woman, as she was the last remaining member of the core line of the Arryns. It's also worth noting that Jeyne Arryn's love life is something of a mystery in terms of the historical sources of the Dance of the Dragons. Some report that she preferred men, and others wrote that she preferred her companion known as Jessamine Redfort, this woman who's of another noble house in the Vale. So that's something that's pretty contested during this period, but overall it's something that doesn't really have too much to do with this story unless Mushroom is to be believed, which I don't think he is in this particular case, but I won't go into what he says about Jace's journey there because I don't want to spoil anything. When considering Jeyne's motivations, it would make sense from an objective perspective that she would support Rhaenyra's claim, particularly given the fact that she is a female inheritor herself. However, that is not certain by any means. Borros Baratheon was thought to be the most likely candidate to say yes out of these 3, which is why Jacaerys was sent on that mission. However, we all saw how that ended up turning out. Moving on to the one of these 2 destinations that seems much more exciting to the online audience, and honestly to myself included, Winterfell is coming back in Season 2. Jace is going to visit Cregan Stark, the current Lord of Winterfell. We just heard about Cregan for the first time in this episode, and that is for good reason. He's pretty young, as Rhaenyra says. He's closer to Jace's age than hers. He's not Jace's age specifically. Jace is about 16 in this point in the story, whereas Cregan, I believe, is 21, though they could change his age in the show. That's happened many times before. His grandfather was the previous ruler of Winterfell, Rickard Stark, who we actually see swearing his oath to Rhaenyra in the first episode. It is also worth noting that Cregan had a younger brother who passed away about a decade prior to the Dance of the Dragons, in addition to, supposedly, according to Mushroom, a half-sister named Sarah Snow, who is a bastard, as that name would imply. I should also note, for those who don't know, Mushroom is the dwarf fool who is in Rhaenyra's court, who essentially acts as one of the three sources we have on the Dance of the Dragons in the book. He's quite funny, and his accounts tend to be very lively, shall we say. All of that aside, Cregan becomes Lord of Winterfell in 121 AC. He is only 13 at this point, and his great-uncle, Bennard Stark, ruled the North as regent during his minority. Bennard was slow to give power back to Cregan once he turned 16, and this caused a lot of hostility and tension between the uncle and the nephew here. However, in 126 AC, Cregan took rule of the North by force, by having Bennard and his three sons imprisoned. He then got married to a woman named Ara Nori, who's another house in the North, who's fairly important in the books at present, who's a friend of his from childhood, though she dies in the year 128 AC while giving birth to a son. Cregan then names his infant son Rickon after his late father. So it's worth noting that Cregan has some common cause with Rhaenyra as well. As noted by her to Boros and to Jeyne Arryn, they did swear an oath, or their ancestors swore an oath, to uphold Rhaenyra as heir. Boros Baratheon does not honor this oath, however, we've seen in Game of Thrones how Starks tend to handle oaths. What's more, personally, Cregan Stark has already attempted to be usurped once by his own uncle. So the fact that Rhaenyra is being usurped by her brother could be a bit of commonality between the two that Jace could use to kind of parlay into an alliance of sorts, especially given their close proximity in age. It is also worth noting that the other great houses of Westeros, the two that have not yet been mentioned, being Tyrell and Martell, are kind of out of the picture for different reasons. The Tyrells like to stay neutral in conflicts, and that seems to be what they're doing at the start of the Dance of the Dragons. Additionally, the Martells are not a factor at all, because Dorne is not currently a part of the Seven Kingdoms. It is later conquered and added well after the Dance of the Dragons, but it at present is not included in those Seven Kingdoms at all. I'm really excited to see Jace's journey unfold in Season 2. I could see it being one of the first episodes, kind of dispersed over those. Maybe in the premiere he's in the Eyrie, maybe in the second episode he's in Winterfell, or I could see one episode just being a bottle episode of Jace's entire voyages and seeing how those build off of each other. Either way would be really cool. I'm super excited for House of the Dragon Season 2, and I hope you are as well. I'd love to talk more about it, speculate, theorize about what might change from the book, what might not, as well as go into other stuff, like theories about the books themselves, because I'm hugely passionate about A Song of Ice and Fire, and I have a few theories I'd like to share in the near future. Additionally, my ranking of all of the House of the Dragon episodes should be up later this week, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like, comment, let me know which of these two people you're more excited to see, let me know why, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm excited to talk about this more, and I thank you all for watching. Have a good one.